The extras here, you got, like I say, you got a little a bonus coming to eat, so appreciate your all's patience here. But I am a Republican, pretty hardcore conservative, and so if there's anybody on the left side of the political spectrum here, may just kind of view this, I guess, as a learning experience and learning from the other side, hopefully, which I like to do also. I like to listen to the other side. That's why I listen to my older sister sometimes, and my brother and I go, why is she voting that way? We've done that our whole life. But as we were leaving the house today, just want to throw something out here. I looked up in the sky, and those blackbirds that you always see flying up in the sky, and they're always like in a V. You know, the ones that you always see them, they're always flying in a V.
Yeah.
And you notice that one side is a little bit longer than the other side.
Yeah.
It's almost always is. You guys know why that is? Why is that one side longer? There's more birds on that side. So my point is, the Republican Party, I view as the party of common sense. That's a common sense answer. So from now on, you guys are going to see the birds flying up, and you go, Mike, that's the worry with the birds. So it's strictly because there's more birds on one side. But we are the party of common sense. I've known that since I was about 15 years old, and I got trained by my best friend's mom in Miami, who was a third grade school teacher, but she was a Republican, which back then in the 60s, a school teacher being a Republican, she probably had to keep kind of quiet while she was working. But her father, my best friend's grandfather, was a guy named Ivor D. Fenton, and you could Google him right now. Pretty hardcore conservative Republican congressman from Southwest Pennsylvania. So my best friend, growing up in Miami for years, his grandfather was a Republican, his mom obviously was Republican, and I would sit at the kitchen table with her smoking cigarettes, so I'm probably going to have secondhand smoke related issues later on. But I would sit and listen to her for a couple hours all the time, and she was basically training me at 15 years old to be a Republican conservative and to understand the differences. So I can say I've been a Republican since I was, basically with a learner's permit driving around. But thank you guys for coming here tonight. Bob gave a pretty quick intro. Most of you all, there's not too many new faces here. Most of you guys know my background. We put it out there. Our daughter, Vanessa, is my campaign manager. I think I'm the only congressional candidate in the nation that has their daughter as their campaign manager. I have a high-level political consultant. I'm not dumb. I know I need a professional at the top. By the way, he is a Navy nuclear power background guy, which is why he and I get along extremely well. So I have a high-level professional, but our daily operations is our daughter Vanessa, who went to Florida Gulf Coast University, so she's a local product, married to an active-duty Navy diver, and she comes down here pretty regularly, and a lot of people are already trying to steal her to be their campaign manager for the next cycle of elections. She's that good. But it's pretty cool to have your daughter working with you on a regular basis on that. So I don't want to get too much into my background because I've done that already over the last 11 months. I entered this race for Congress 11 months ago. You guys know there's 12 in the race right now. It's a very crowded field. Very similar to when Byron Donalds ran for the first time for Congress 5 years ago. There were 10 people in the race on that election ballot. He won with about 21% of the vote at that time 5 years ago, and there were 10 people in the race. So kind of a very similar situation right now. We've got 12 people right now in the race. I think eventually when the ballots come out, gosh, we're almost 3 months away from the primary right now. There'll probably going to be 10 people in the race. So it's going to be very similar to 5 years ago when Byron Donalds won, and he won with 20% of the vote. So the point I'm trying to make here is, you guys know I am not the millionaire in this race. There are about 3 millionaires in this race. They're self-funding quite a bit for the campaign. $1 million, $2 million, $3 million own money in the race. I am the classic, and let's just simplify right now, and then I'm going to get into some issues and try to get the juices flowing, and then I'll save time for questions and answers. But I am the classic David versus Goliath in this race. What do I want to show? After my wife said I could run 11 months ago, when she initially said, no, 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 and then she said, okay, this thing that you want to do, you can do it. So when I win this race, and I do view it that way, when I win this race, you can thank her. Because initially she said no, and then a couple days later she came in the kitchen and said, this thing that you want to do, There's probably a reason we've been married for 41 years. She gave it some thought, probably asked God, and she came in the kitchen and said, go ahead and do it if you want to do it. So when I win this race, you can thank Elsa back there for allowing me to do it. Why am I running? I mean, I've been serving my entire life. It's in my DNA. I've lived my whole philosophy in life of, if not me, then who? I know that's a simple thing to say, but it's just basically what I've been doing. My dad served in the World War II, and my mom just served her community the whole time. So I'm a mix of my mom's big heart, and I'm a mix of my dad's fighter pilot background, World War II. And it's an interesting mix, and I kind of understand why my brother and I came out the way we did. So I just can't say no. And once I saw that Byron Donalds was deciding to enter this race, I was like everybody else at home. I was like, okay, great. He's probably got a pretty good chance of winning, but he's been our congressman, so he's running for Congress. Who's going to replace him? And I sat at the kitchen table at home, and I was like, waiting, like everybody else, who's going to replace him? And I was the first person that entered. There's two Jims in this race. I really don't want to say too much of their names, but one's Jim O, Jung, and so we got two Jims that entered the race. I was like, no. And a couple of my friends were like, Mike, quit complaining. You should have been in politics a long time ago. And that's basically was a challenge to me being a 20-year Marine. And I said, okay, I think I'm going to do it. And then Elsa finally said yes. So you guys know my background, the reason I'm deciding to run. And what I want to do is probably just get into some issues.
Yes.
I'd rather throw those out and get the juices flowing, because it always does every time.
Yep.
And that's the best way to understand what's on the inside of Mike Pedersen and what makes him tick. So let me just go through a couple issues, and then definitely I think that's going to open up some questions. And I got a list up here. I wrote them down, but they're all pretty good. So bear with me. Bear with me.
Oh my God, I love it.
When I started this race, it was like, oh, you got to have a platform. You got to have all the issues that you stand for. And I was like, okay, I can start writing those down. And my daughter's my manager. She made that card out there. So we put them on there, and that was the first version 11 months ago. And I'm telling you, of all the events, and I'm going to outwork these millionaires. So everybody keeps saying, Mike, how are you going to win this race? Because you don't have $1 million, you owe money in the race. So I'm just going to outwork. I will be outspent. I absolutely already am being outspent. But I've got a lot of donations coming in. I've never had people give me money in my entire life until 11 months ago. It's a weird feeling. Sean, you're running for office. As soon as you start getting friends writing you checks, it's like you're looking at it like, I don't want to ask for it, but
you need it.
I was like, Dad, you got to ask him. You got to ask him. It's a donation. This is a fundraiser, by the way. It's not a meet and greet. So we get people to come here because it's a meet and greet, and then it's like, hey, this is really a
we also need money.
So we will take donations. I am up against big dollars, but back on the subject that I put at the top here, I've got the platform of a very conservative list of 8 to 10 issues that I'm concerned about.
What are they?
Well, they're on the back of that card, but here's the point I'm making. Here's the point I'm making, Adele. It took me about 3 months into this race to realize that our party unity isn't anywhere near it is on the Democrat side. I've gone to a lot of clubs, gatherings, a lot of events, and we do kind of like fighting with each other. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's just more than I expected. Okay, I expected the way that kind of the Democrats do a lot of times, that they just put their arms around each other, they get on a message, and they follow it to the T. So that was one thing I wanted to throw out there that I kind of put, in general, kind of near the top of my list, is that if we don't stay together, the alternative, and I hope there's no Democrats in here, but we're not going to be happy.
Yep.
We're not going to be happy. So party unity, I've kind of slid that to the top, which I think spreads out to all the other issues. So no matter what we talk about and no matter what we're important about, we've got to remember that we may have some differences, but at the end of the day, we got to come together, because the alternative, I remember 8 years of Obama. I remember, Jimmy Carter. I remember those years growing up. When I bought my first house in Hawaii before I met Elsa, it was 50. People complain about interest rates today for mortgage. It was 15%. I had to go in with another first lieutenant. We put our money together and we bought a townhouse on an agreement of sale where we just paid the interest. We didn't even pay down the mortgage. So we have to stay together to win this race.
Yeah.
And to keep control of the House and keep control of the Senate. So I kind of put party unity near the top. When I started this race 11 months ago, I would tell people we're $36 trillion in debt. We have a hard time saying no in Congress. And I'm not going to really owe anybody anything when I get elected. So I'm going to have a fun time saying no to spending. We got 8.5 grandkids now. I say half because we got one on the way. And when I started this race, we were $36 trillion. When I graduated the Naval Academy in 1979, now you guys are doing the math, you're figuring out how old I am. When I graduated the Naval Academy in 1979, our country was $1 trillion in debt. 1979, think about it. When I started this race 11 months ago, I was saying we're $36 trillion in debt. In 11 months, we've gone to 39 plus. We're almost hitting $40 trillion in debt. I don't know how we're going to get out of that, which is why one of the issues about tariffs, I'm kind of a proponent and a supporter of tariffs. I don't think tariffs are so much as an economic tool as they are a weapon to use against our enemies. I might talk about that in one of the answers to your question. Think about that. I like tariffs, not so much as an economic tool because they are, and I wonder how the heck we're going to get out of $39 trillion of debt. But I also look at tariffs as a weapon, and I think President Trump looks at it that way also. So that's something to think about. The Social Security, now that I am on Social Security, we're on Social Security, we're getting there to have no tax on Social Security, but I would like to get there eventually and have President Trump finish that up. So those of you that are eventually getting to Social Security, maybe someday, I remember the first time I heard that my Social Security, as I was approaching that age, was taxed. And I was like, what? Are you kidding? And my financial advisor was going, you didn't know that all this time? So I think we're getting there. We did file the first time our income taxes, and we got a little bit more back, I think, than most people are now getting a little bit more back this year, especially their Social Security. So there's we're getting to that point where we're not going to have tax on Social Security. I would love to keep that effort going to get there. That would be nice. Being a somewhat disabled vet, I've got a percentage rating like a couple people probably in here do. There is a issue with the veterans, and that's one of the areas I can serve our Congress on in the VA. They call it the Major Star Act. They're trying to get that fully passed. Believe it or not, if somebody's got a disability from their military, they're actually having that portion cover part of their retirement pay. It should not ever have happened, and I know Congress is trying to fix it. Right now, it's called the Major Star. The Major Star Act. If you can look that up, you'll see what I'm talking about. But that's something I'd like to push and get that across the finish line. A couple more items here, and then we'll open it up to question and answers. I grew up in South Miami when I was 10 years old. I had plenty of friends from Cuba that I played Little League football with, Little League baseball with, junior high wrestling, high school wrestling. Never really thought that they were any different at all, but I always knew we wanted a free Cuba. So I am a huge proponent for a free Cuba. I always wondered why, after the Bay of Pigs failure, because my uncle was career CIA after World War II, I talked to him a couple times about some things. There's a lot of stuff he wouldn't tell me fully, but he knew a little bit about the Bay of Pigs invasion. And I always wondered why we didn't try that again. I mean, we failed, obviously, but I think when I was growing up, I was like, why don't we try that again? So we've got a communist country 90 miles south of Key West for way too many years. The people suffering down there. But I got a ton of friends. I've been to a lot of weddings, a lot of funerals lately with a lot of my Cuban American friends. But I want to see, before I die, a free Cuba. And I think with this president that we have right now, it can happen. I mean, we're getting there. So we've already seen the results of some of his efforts in other areas of the world. But I think a free Cuba is definitely on my list. I'd like to see that happen. Alligator Alcatraz. Let me throw this one out here. Hot topic.
Best thing he ever did.
When I met Elsa, I hope you don't mind me saying this, she was not a citizen. She was from the Philippines. We met in Hawaii. She was not a citizen yet. So I saw her go through the legal process. A year after we got married, she had to study for a written test, an oral test. She was sweating it. She didn't think she could pass. I don't know if I can do this. So I helped her through the whole process, and I was there when she got sworn in the courthouse in Honolulu with about 100 other people that were brand new citizens, and I was crying like everybody else was crying. They walk out carrying the flag. So there's a process. Here's where I got to slow down here a little bit because I heard your comment there, and I heard something. I completely agree, illegals out of the country, because they skip the line. And I see it firsthand with a couple of my relatives, 100%, especially if they're breaking the law and they're doing some really bad stuff. They need to be the first ones out. So, but here's where I'm going with Alligator Alcatraz. And you might go, oh, okay, Mike's going to say something here. I don't really agree with the location. I'm a true Floridian. Okay, and you can record this one right
I was going to say, Julie's going to love
You
this.
must agree with 100% with everything President Trump and our Governor DeSantis. I think that was a quick decision. If you're a true Floridian, let me say that, the Everglades are sacred.
Yep.
All right? They are sacred if you truly are Floridian. If you moved here in the last 15, 20 years, we'll put this in, there's a runway already out there. I don't know when it got put in there, but if the runway's out there, that'd be a good spot. We got the pythons, we got the alligators, we can sell some t-shirts. This is going to be cool. We're going to spend $700 million, by the way. $39 trillion in debt, right? Now we're going to spend $700 million to expand this thing in the Big Cypress Preserve. If you're a true Floridian, on day one, like me, I was like, there were other places for us to do
Yes.
that. I agree with the concept. But I think I'm the only one running for Congress, probably in the United States, that has the guts to say, DeSantis may say, I'm not going to support Mike Pedersen for him saying that, because I don't know where the decision came from. I really don't. But I really don't care either. I'm just saying, it's too late now. It's already there. We've already sunk $700 million. But now you see, almost every day, there's issues going on. And we as the Republican Party didn't need to put that on our back. There's the Baker Correction Facility up by Jacksonville. There's the North Chrome facility in Miami that could have been expanded, and we didn't need to take on the problems that we're having with Alligator Alcatraz. So I don't want to expand on that too much, but I'm just saying, as a true Floridian, you don't mess with the Everglades, and there were other places in Florida that we could have done that, and it would have been just as fine. And you know what? It would have helped the local economies up in Jacksonville or North Chrome Avenue versus just right out there in the middle of it. So I don't want to get too much on that, but that's, if guys Mike disagrees with some areas, that's one area right there. The NRA. I am a lifetime member. The next time I get on stage with the other 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 other candidates that might be on stage with us, a very good question you might ask is, you guys are all conservative Republicans. How many guys and gals are lifetime members of the NRA? It's a very good question. I hope you ask that. If not, I will probably bring it up, ask the other candidates who up here is a strong conservative Republican, who is a member of the NRA, and there might be some hands go up, and that'll be who's a lifetime member of the NRA, and some of those hands might go down. I'm a lifetime proud member of the NRA. 27 words in the Second Amendment. Okay, a well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep bear arms shall not be infringed. And those last couple of words are very, very important to me. So I think if you're a Republican, please join the NRA, at least on an annual basis, and it's renew it every year. But we need to have more people joining the NRA. I'm almost done. Human trafficking is big for me. We don't. Like you just said, we're $39 trillion in debt. We're trying to reduce spending. But there's one area that I wouldn't mind spending money, and that's to fight human trafficking. There's a lot of volunteers in our country that are fighting human trafficking, and they're doing it on donations. I'm planning on winning this race, but I'm also a pragmatic realist, and I think if I don't, I'm almost tempted to go help some of these organizations that are fighting human trafficking, and they're doing it off of donations. That's how tough I feel about that. So if I don't win this race, I've maybe got some area to go help. But I think we do need more federal funding to fight human trafficking. It's just a travesty of what our country's accepted. And we don't even, it's not even in the news hardly. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. The filibuster, I'm jumping around on a couple issues here, so you guys see where Mike Pedersen, you get an idea where Mike Pedersen's brain goes. I just go all over the place. The filibuster, man, you can argue that back and forth all the time, and I keep going back to let's nuke it, because I keep going back to, I know if the Democrats, not if, I mean, it's going to eventually win, if they win the House and the Senate, they're going to bring it back anyway. So the SAVE Act is extremely important because election integrity is huge for me. If we don't have faith in the results of our elections, then we got enough. January 6th would never happen if we had faith in our election results, right? That wouldn't even have been an issue if we believed in our election system.
But then John Strayed wouldn't be running.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're right. You're right.
I'm sorry.
You're right. But I think it's, and I go back and forth on this filibuster thing. I really do. And I'm constantly arguing with myself on it. But I keep going back to, I think it's time, because how the heck did you have 51 senators or a majority in the House and not have the power to do anything? I mean, I know our elections the last many years have been very, very close. Left and right, left and right, left and right. But if we have the majority, why the heck can't we get stuff across the finish line? So I keep going back to let's finally nuke the filibuster.
Yes.
Wow, so I don't know. I could probably be talked out of it, maybe, but I'm leaning that way.
Yep. No.
And maybe on the question and answer, somebody else got some other comments on that. I do support Israel. They are a very, very good, friendly supporter of ours. I review it as kind of a symbiotic relationship. I think that's a biology type term. You know, two things get together and it's actually kind of better. So it's a symbiotic relationship we have with Israel. They are the anchor for us in that part of the world. They improve. We sell them a lot. Our youngest son works for Pete Hegseth in the Department of War. He's down the hallway from Pete Hegseth. He is a legislative affairs, acquisition and sustainment. So he deals a lot with, you know, how we acquire things, how we sustain what we have. And a lot of the things that we sell Israel, they improve upon. A lot of the aircraft we sell, another fellow F4 Rio right here, we sell a lot of medical...
iPhone software is designed by Israel.
Yes, they're extremely intelligent. When those pagers started blowing off, what was that, 2 years ago? Man, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But I do support Israel. Our biggest threats, I feel, and I was 20 years in the Marine Corps, most of our training was for China and Russia. I don't think that's changed. Russia and China, I think China's probably at the top for me because we had the Cold War. Some of us fought in the Cold War era. I don't think the Cold War ever ended. Russia just kind of went into hibernation. You got to think about that. They're just hibernating. But China's our enemy. They are our threat. And then radical Islam. So those three are the big three. China's huge because the amount of people they have in their military and their traditional military assets. And Russia's got a bunch of nukes. And President Trump, brilliant man, he understands the threat of the nuclear power. So our enemies, in my eye, are those three: China, Russia, and radical Islam. VA facilities, I know we have a nice clinic in Cape Coral. When I get elected, I view my responsibilities as voting and also trying to bring assets back to assist things like trying to expand the VA clinic in Northeast Cape Coral to make it a regular hospital. I think that's a very, very good goal for us to have.
Yeah.
There are 50,000 plus veterans in Lee County and about 25,000, I think, down here in Collier County area, a little bit farther south. So 75,000 plus veterans in our district. That's a big that's a big chunk of people to take care of. Almost done. I was hoping there'd be somebody here from the school board. I would love to have it mandatory, and I know their curriculum is full, and I know it's hard to squeeze another subject in there, but I would like to keep pushing to make it mandatory to teach U.S. history and civics 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade and have them pass a final before they get into the
Yeah.
One of my platform items on the back there, I know Adele was looking at that, is protect and develop our youth, and I think that falls into the category of protecting and developing our youth. I don't think our youth get enough education on U.S. history and civics, so I think there needs to be a course every single year.
Yeah.
Trade schools, I'm almost done. We need to make trade schools cool again. I don't think everybody's equipped to go to college. One of my friends across the street growing up became a plumber. And initially, I think back to that, 17, 18 years old, we're going, hey, Eddie's going to be a plumber. You know, 3/4 of my school in Miami went to FSU or U of F or UCF. Yeah. And then a few of us went the military route. But Eddie became a plumber. And we were all like, he's going to be a plumber. You know what? You know the first millionaire in our class in high school? Eddie was the first millionaire. All right? And he's having a great life right now. So I want to make trade schools cool again. Almost done. Energy. If you're a solar salesman or a wind farm salesman, you're probably not going to like me. I don't want federal funding for that. Private industry, fine, but we need to expand our oil, our gas. Our oldest son's in the oil and gas industry. He has been for the last 20 years, ever since he graduated San Diego State. So we've got an oldest son in oil and gas. I also like the concept of increasing nuclear power.
Yep.
SMRs, small modular reactors. We have the technology now that we don't need. I grew up fishing off of Miami, the Turkey Point nuclear power plant there. You can see it. That's how you got back from the Gulf Stream, was there's Turkey Point there. Okay, I got it. But the technology now, we can have small modular reactors. They're not like tiny, but they're a lot smaller than what you would envision. But we need to explore that more. Probably about a fifth of my Naval Academy class went nuclear powered submarines. They were pretty smart guys, way smarter than me. They got drafted into it. We haven't had an accident on a Navy nuclear powered sub, and I don't think we ever have in our history of our Navy. Those guys are underwater with nuclear power plants propelling them. So I want to expand, and energy dominance is what President Trump understands, and we're getting there. But if you have wind farm investments or solar panel investments in the private industry, fine. Someday maybe we'll have a bigger house and we'll go out in the country and I'll have solar panels on the house, but that would be fine. But I don't think we need government assistance in that area. No federal money. No federal money to Planned Parenthoods and radio stations like NPR. I don't know why my tax money goes to a Planned Parenthood down the street or it goes to NPR. Let's stop that. Why the heck they ever agreed to that? I have no idea. So I'm almost done here. I just want to say, when I get elected, well, what's Mike going to do when he gets to Congress? These are all kind of the issues that run around in Mike's head. So what kind of committees would I be on? Obviously, with my background, Armed Services Committee. That's a no-brainer. Okay, I'd be a perfect fit. There's 12 of us in this race. I'm the only veteran, and I'm the only one of those 12 that could feel comfortable walking into a room with a bunch of veterans. There's no doubt about it. I've already seen it. I spoke last year on Memorial Day, and then I spoke here on Veterans Day. I stood right here on Veterans Day last year, giving a speech on Veterans Day. I am the only candidate in this race for District 19 that's going to feel comfortable around veterans, and more importantly, that's going to fight for veterans. And I will fight. There's a couple people. Did you just pop out? Michael Morrell. Let me explain on how Mike Pedersen can fight. He had an eye issue.